and shoulders. So he's starting in a half kneeling position, so just something comfortable underneath your right knee. Also, if you've got a yoga block, maybe two, and a tennis ball, or just something small that you can squeeze, that'd be super helpful. So he's going to brace through his legs. He wants to feel like his legs are trying to drag in toward each other. And we're going to go through 2 shoulder cars. So he's going to take his right arm up across his body, external rotation. When he gets to the top here, he's going to spin the bicep away into internal rotation, reaching back, keeping his chest square forward. Press back, triceps like crazy without leaning away from that arm. He's going to unwind that arm as he reaches up toward the ceiling. More unwind of that bicep or wind up of that bicep as he cuts across. 1 more rep. He's going to cut underneath. Bicep by the ear, abs and torso stays really strong. Internal rotation as he reaches back. Back of the hand at the hip, tricep like crazy as he presses back. Unwind through that bicep as he reaches up to the ceiling. He's not leaning toward me at all. Cut across the body and rest. Right from here, he's going to go straight down onto his stomach. Right elbow on the yoga block. He's going to fist that tennis ball, and we're going to take 5 lift-offs from this position. So he's going to squeeze the tennis ball like crazy and lift his forearm off. You want to go external rotation, so he's imagining the bicep is spinning back. He's going to lengthen through his wrist just a little bit so that he's not cheating. And he's keeping his shoulder blade pulling down into his back pocket, and then he's going to rest 4 more just like that. External rotation, lift off, rep 2, and lower. Squeeze, lift off, 3. This is wrapping back and lower. He's putting a little pressure of his elbow into the floor, pull back, 4, and lower. 1 more rep here, pull back, 5, and lower. You can stay right there. I'm going to challenge him by removing the block and go right from the floor. He's going to pull back, brace, lift off, 1, and lower. He's doing a really great job not cheating that lift off with the wrist. Brace, lift off, 2. This is staying packed down in his upper back, and lower. Brace, lift off, 3, and lower. And brace, lift off, 4, driving the elbow down and lower. Last rep, brace, lift off, 5, and lower. Next, we're going to go into some shoulder flexion. So he's going to reach his arms straight overhead. I'm going to have him squeeze the ball like crazy, pack the shoulder down his back, engage his abs, and I'm just going to have him lift up into as much shoulder flexion as he's got. So he's clearing the floor pretty well, so I'm going to challenge him and slide the block underneath. If you're barely lifting off, stay right on the ground. We're going to go 5 lift-offs here. He's going to pack the shoulder down the back, engage abs, lift off, 1, and lower. Nice job. He's squeezing that ball a ton. Brace, lift off, 2, and lower. Always slide down, brace, lift off, 3. So good. And lower. 2 more. Brace, lift off, 4, and lower. Last rep. Brace, lift off, 5, and lower. We're going to challenge 2 prone shoulder cars from here. He's going to brace and lift off. Now he's going to start that internal rotation as he reaches out to that T position. More internal rotation and more height, so more extension as he finds the hip, and he's going to rest. Brace, shoulder blade packs down his back, arm lifts off from here. No shifting of the torso. Unwind that arm, reach out to the side, and now he is going to continuously fight for more height. Try to float off that yoga block, off that target, and rest. He really cleared it on that one, so I'm going to challenge him. Brace, squeeze, lift off. 1 more rep. Internal rotation as he starts to reach out to the side. More internal rotation, and he's doing a really good job not letting his torso shift and rest. He's going to pack that shoulder down his back, squeeze tricep like crazy, lift off. Externally rotate as he reaches out to the side. Again, he's not leaning away from his chest. He's going to fight for as much shoulder flexion, as much height as he can, and then he's going to rest. Great job. I'm going to do the other arm. So I'm going to come on up, spin around the sides. We're going to start with those 2 half-kneeling shoulder cars. So he's going to get engaged through his legs. Off he goes with that first rep. So these first 2 shoulder cars, really just a little check-in, a self-assessment. Nothing, not fighting for a ton of resistance or trying to squeeze out a ton of range of motion. So this is our warm-up, these 2 shoulder cars. And then as we progress through the next 3 exercises, we're working harder and harder. Good. So again, things to watch for as I'm making sure he's not leaning away from that arm or spiraling his chest toward that arm. Perfect. We're going down onto the stomach, lift off. So we'll start with that left elbow propped up on the block. And we want it right at about that 90-degree angle so the arm's not reaching too high or too low. He's gonna squeeze that tennis ball like crazy. Tuck a little tailbone underneath so he's engaging through the abs, so when he moves through the arms, nothing changes down here. Shoulder blade packs down into his back, spirals the bicep back as he externally rotates 1, and then rest. Good. Spiral bicep back, external rotation 2, and lower. You can see he's shaking, he's working hard. And pull back 3, elbow drives down into the block and lower. Pull back, squeeze 4, generating a ton of heat back here and lower, 1 more rep. Pull back 5 and lower. And because he's clearing that pretty good range of motion, we're going to kick the yoga block out of the way and ask for him to go from the floor. We brace, or he braces, squeeze, dig down into the ground, lift off 1 and lower. We're going to really watch that wrist, brace, squeeze, lift off. Yeah, so much better. Lift and lower. Brace abs, brace shoulder blades, squeeze, lift 4 and lower. 1 more rep. Brace, squeeze, lift. 5's doing a really great job with that low back. And rest. That arm goes overhead. So the first rep we're doing is a little assessment. So he's going to pack the shoulder blade down his back, squeeze the ball, extend through the arm, and he's going to lift. If you get to here and you cannot lift, or you can barely lift, then you're not going to go off the block. He's clearing the floor really well, and he's not compensating with the upper body. So I'm going to go ahead and challenge him with the block underneath there. He's like, please put it under there soon. So we're going to go 5 liftoffs here. He's going to brace, pack that down as he lifts off 1, and lower. Tricep stays engaged, which he's doing a great job of. Squeeze the ball to create some tension, lift 2, and lower. Brace, squeeze, lift 3, and lower. 2 more. So we're being aware that he's not turning this way as he's lifting that arm, and lower. Last rep, brace, squeeze, lift 5, and lower. And now the challenge of 2 prone shoulder cars from here. So he's going to brace, squeeze, lift. He's going to start that internal rotation without turning toward me as he goes to the side. More internal rotation, and he's going to fight for a little more extension, lower down. Squeeze, lift, fight for the ceiling. Try to maintain that as you externally rotate, reach out to that T. As he reaches into the overhead, the shoulders packing down. He finds that overhead position and rests. He's going to brace and go 1 more rep. Shoulder down, squeeze, lift up. Internal rotation as you reach out to the side. Nice job. Chest stays square to the floor. Fight for more height, more height, more height, more height. And rest. Squeeze, lift from here. Feel triceps like crazy. Unwind that ball. Nice. Reach out to the side and overhead. Chest stays square to the floor. Fight for more height in that overhead extension. And rest. And relax. He's going to pull onto his hands and knees, and we're going to take some cat-camels. Nice job. So for Josh, I'm going to slide this yoga block in between the knees. Maybe let's go here. Yep. Just give him a little something extra to squeeze on. We're going to go 4 reps, 2 leading from the tailbone, 2 leading from the head. So when he's pulling into his cat stretch, he's going to push hands forward. When he's pulling into extension, he's going to drag hands toward. So we're going to start head up, butt up. Tailbone moves first. So he's going to tuck tailbone. Push into low back, mid back, upper back, shoulder blades. Good. Neck and head go last. Feeling like he's going to push into both of my hands to hold that cat stretch. Nice. And then he's going to release tailbone, low back, mid back. Feeling those hands drag this way through his upper back. Shoulder blades pull open and back, and he finds his extension. 1 more rep here. Tailbone tucks, low back. Good. Mid back, upper back. Shoulder blades, head goes last, big breath. Feel more stretch, more work through the abs, release the tailbone. Low back, mid back, upper back. Shoulder blades pull down, head pulls up and through. Now he's going to keep this extension, tuck his chin. Then push in between the shoulder blades. Then start to go into that rib cage. Now traveling down into that low back, and that tailbone tucks under last. Good breath into that cat stretch. He's going to hold the low ab work, hold the stretch here as he releases the head. Great job. Releases through the shoulders. His focus continues to lift as he travels the rest of the way down the spine, back into that extension. Nice job, last rep. Head goes first, extension holds. Push shoulder blades. Nice. Traveling down into that rib cage. Good, good, good. Tailbone tucks last. He rounds into that cat stretch, as much ab work as he can muster. He's going to keep the ab work here, release the head. then the shoulders. Nice job. He's doing a great job keeping the shoulders packed down so he's not sinking. He's going to open through the chest. Nice. Perfect. He's going to spin around onto his back, and we're going to work spine from another 2 different directions. So we're going to start with this slow bridge. So we're going to go spinal articulation from now the bottom up. We're using the mat as a little reference point. So I'm actually going to have Josh reach his arms straight up to the ceiling so we can see his spine better. Pull his shoulder blades down his back. He's going to curl tailbone underneath, peel the spine up 1 vertebra at a time here. So you want to imagine if your spine was like a strand of pearls, you're peeling up just 1 at a time instead of 1 chunk. At the top here, I want Josh to imagine his flat feet are pulling this way, and his shoulder blades are pulling this way, and maybe he gets a little hamstring. Yeah. Now he's going to soften just the chest. He's going to melt now just through the rib cage. So if I was putting my hand under here, now he would push next piece, next piece, next piece. Squeeze the tailbone like crazy at that last moment so you feel a ton of abs, and then he's going to release and roll through. Nice job. We'll go 1 more rep here. Tailbone tucks under, peel. Push the low back down. He's peeling low back. Then next piece, next piece. Good. Feet are staying flat. Feel the 2 ends of the body pull toward one another. Nice. He's shaking. He's getting extra credit. Soften the sternum. Melt the rib cage. Melt through the low back. Keep the glutes working until that very last moment. And then release. So now I'm going to have him lower his arms right down by his side. They're going to hover off the ground, and we're going to work through the upper back. So we're going to take 2 really slow crunches. So I'm going to have him nod his chin. He's lengthening through the neck. Now he's going to start to peel the head up, then the shoulders, and he's going to imagine those arms pulling straight forward, and he's going to go as high up as he can until he feels his little pause or his stopping point, and then he's going to try to roll down. Fingertips are trying to reach forward as he goes down. And he's crunching abs like crazy, and he's laying each piece of that spine right back down 1 vertebra at a time. Super slow crunch. 1 more rep for him. Chin nods. We dive, reach forward with the fingertips, peel that upper back off. Maybe we peel off. Maybe we find just the base of that rib cage. And then we roll down just as controlled. 1 piece of that spine at a time. Nice. Strong through those abs. And then release and relax. We're going to move on to the hips.